Watching and connected, but it's never enough. Talking with our friends about our favorite things. TV shows and movies and some random swearing. Hey! 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 This is the pretty, this is the little, this is the pretty little podcast.
Hello, all you pretty little people. This is the Pretty Little Podcast. I'm your host, Debbie Chad. With me is just Jess.
Hello, I'm here.
What are we talking about today, Jess?
Okay, just straight to
Just
it?
going right at it.
Okay, all right.
I'm a little tired today.
Are you?
Yeah, the neighbors put their dog out in the yard at 1 o'clock this morning.
Yeah, I know.
And as long as that dog is in the yard, it barks. They can leave him out there for 20 minutes. They can leave him out there for 20 hours. He will bark straight every time.
It's true.
Until they bring him back inside.
Yes, I know.
So he woke me up at like 1:28 this morning.
Oh, I know I woke up at some point and you were playing your game. What is it, Romeo something?
Romeo is a Dead Man?
Yeah. I know you're playing that. And I
that
was
game is awesome.
I know you're enjoying it. Anyways, we're not here to talk about that today. We're here to talk about the Maxx. And the Maxx is an American comic book series created by Sam Keith in 1993 and originally published monthly until 1998 by Image Comics for 35 issues. And then that comic book, starring an eponymous purple-clad hero, spawned a 13-episode animated series on MTV that originally aired April through June 1995. And that's what we're talking about, the cartoon.
Right.
Another episode about an MTV cartoon.
We are going back to the MTV well for this, and it won't be the last time this season.
So much animation out there.
MTV really did have like the most like edgy 90s surreal weird cartoon series ever. With the exception, like outside of Ren and Stimpy, you had to go to MTV for this type of shit.
Mm-hmm.
And my first experience with the Maxx, I mentioned in the Spawn episode we did that I had gone to a comic book store and bought a bunch of comics that day because they were going out of business. The Maxx was one of the series that I grabbed that day, and I think I had issues like 1 through 12.
Mm.
And went home, read them. I knew at a young age that my draw to this series was the art, which was done by Sam Keith, as you mentioned. And
I hate how he spells his last name. He doesn't spell it. The I and the E are backwards.
Right,
and it just looks like a typo to me.
But yeah, the Maxx was definitely one of those series that I was drawn to because of the artwork. And I was already familiar with Sam Keith's work because he did like the first, I think, 6 or so issues of Sandman. He did the interior art for that series. And I was already familiar with the Sandman series by this point in my life.
Right.
But this is the first time that like I had really seen something that he did that was
his
original.
Yeah.
Right.
You love this.
I do.
You love this thing.
I love it because it is so like it's not hard to follow, but it's so weird and just crazy that it does not make sense. And it probably won't make sense to anybody reading or watching this outside of him. I feel like only he knows what this means. It means something to him. He's not going to explain it. We even just watched an interview on the bonus features on the DVD, and he still didn't explain the story, what it meant or anything. He just kind of explained what we already saw.
Yes.
And nothing more. So I don't think you're ever going to get any kind of
I think you're reading too much depth into this. I think that Sam Keith himself said that he's not a writer. He creates the characters. He likes drawing.
Right.
And someone else comes along and makes a story out of it. I don't think there's much of a fucking story here. I think you're like, oh no, it's a mystery. No, I don't think they fucking know.
Yeah,
I don't think anyone knows.
There's a 20-minute story here that is spread out between 13 episodes. And it does that thing because this was part of MTV's Oddities lineup in the 90s.
Yeah.
And that included the Maxx, the Head.
Welcome in, little people. It's another thing of oddities.
It was a series where it was a 30-minute time slot where 2 series shared one time slot.
Right.
So the runtime on these is anywhere from like 10 to 12 minutes long. It's real quick. It's easy to get through in one sitting because it's about the entire series. Like I said, it's 13 episodes and it's about the length of a feature-length movie.
Yeah, you said what? It's like 176 minutes or something like that.
We
watched half last night and then half this morning just before recording.
Yeah. So being familiar with the comic as a kid, of course, I knew the series was on MTV, I would watch it at my friend's house. I would record them until I eventually bought the like actual VHS release from a Blockbuster Music near my house.
Right.
And yeah, I have a lot of really good memories of not only watching the series, but reading the book too, and just drawing the characters. This is one of those things when I was a teenager and trying to like really figure out how to draw. There was a point in my life where I wanted to be a comic artist.
Yeah.
And I would just find characters in my comic books and kind of draw them, look at them and draw them and see how well I could, freehand, and trying to mimic art styles from people that I liked, I admired.
To try and find your own. That's a very natural way of learning things.
Yeah. And what I really liked about his style is the fact that it never stays on model. None of this stays on model at all. It fluctuates between styles. It fluctuates between looking like a flat, colorful cartoon to a very highly detailed, like, watercolor painting. So there's all kinds of art influences going on here in different styles that are kind of blending together.
There is no reference sheet for characters.
I can't imagine there was.
No, there's no way.
I just really appreciated that it was one of those things that it felt like it was just such a freeing experience, not only in the art, but also the way the story plays out as this stream of conscious nonsense, kind of loosely linked between another absurd like function that this story relies on as a crutch to move along. And it's just kind of refreshing to me to have these kind of influences in my life that aren't so structured and buttoned down and I don't know, just gone over obsessively to make sure that it functions well and the Easter eggs work, and which that has its place too. And I prefer that type of format, but this is something that is just outside of that, that I appreciate because I can turn my brain off and it doesn't matter because you don't have to think that like you said, this series tries to like disguise itself as something with much, much deeper meaning. And I'm sure if you pick it apart and go online and find subreddits, you can find people are doing just that with this series. But I really don't think it's any deeper than what it's showing you. I don't think it's meant to be this cathartic experience that you go through and then you figure out more about yourself. It's not that. This is something that really only exists in the 90s. It only exists within that structure of MTV animation or a comic book format, that it really thrives on that idea that the 90s had, that we were all ready for something else.
Cool.
That's it. I mean, it's really no more deeper than that. I can appreciate it on a level of absurdity, just like I do anything else. I mean, like Ren and Stimpy or The Head or Aeon Flux. These are all things that just, they function within the realm of the absurd because...
I'd argue Ren and Stimpy has much tighter plot episodes.
Yeah, probably. But, I mean, we can call it what it is. This came out in the 90s. This was for potheads. This really
is for
was.
Gen X.
This was for Gen X drug addicts.
Specifically, this show is so fucking Gen X, especially Sarah, who I can't fucking stand.
Yeah.
Oh my god, give me Daria, okay? Like that is more my version of this type of.
I feel like Sarah is that Daria character.
No, but I know, but Daria's done better.
The animation director for Beavis and Butthead worked on the Maxx, so it makes sense.
Which is where Daria came from. If y'all don't know, Daria, was a show that got its own spinoff. It's technically a spinoff from Beavis and Butthead.
Even though technically that character was written in the comic, which came out like 3 years before the series.
No, I'm just saying there's a lot of similarities there.
Right. Well, and I mentioned on our Doro Hedoro episode that like...
Long ago.
Yeah, long ago.
Excellent animated
The Maxx and
series.
Julie remind me a lot of Kaiman and Nikaido. And Mr. N reminds me a lot of Mr. Gon.
Wow.
Especially even the way he talks and carries himself. It is this...
I like everything about Dorohedoro so much more.
Oh, yeah. Far better series, for sure. But
so much more. But I get what you mean. The kind of like in between the two worlds and this blonde and her hulking friend.
Yes, I honestly feel like...
the fucking weirdo bad guy.
I feel like those characters were inspired by these Maxx. And it makes sense because the
totally
mangaka that made Dorohedoro, that came out in 2000.
Yeah.
So this would have already been an influence if it was going to be.
A lady mangaka.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I highly believe that those three characters influenced Dorohedoro.
It's possible. It's absolutely possible. It'd be interesting to know one way or the other. Yeah. You didn't ask me how I found out because you're like, well, this is my first experience.
Well, I just finished how I found out.
Oh, that whole thing was yours.
Hey, Jess, how did you find out about the Maxx?
Because of you.
Yeah.
I had never fucking heard of this. I never watched it. I don't care for it. But I know you love it.
Look.
So, no, give me credit. I was silent for almost the entirety of watching that, right? I wasn't like...
I know.
Picking it apart. I wasn't bitching because this thing makes no fucking sense.
It's really hard for you to get into this type of thing.
It's not my thing. And episode after episode,
I would warn anybody.
They're not my thing.
Anybody listening to this right now, if you haven't seen this or you're not aware of the Maxx and you go watch this on my recommendation, you're probably not going to like it either.
No, it depends on the type of story you like being told. If you're more of a freeform artistic sort like you are, then I'm sure you're like, I love that I can turn my brain off. I can't turn my brain off. That's not an option for me.
That isn't healthy.
No, I'm a publisher and an editor, and I notice story structure and when things don't make fucking sense or when they contradict each other.
What does this hurt existing? You know what I mean? Like,
I didn't say it doesn't deserve to exist. I said it's not my thing.
For freakish weirdos like me that like this type of shit.
No, well, what irritates me about this is like several things. And I'm not going to name specific examples, but there's several things out there that have the germ of an interesting idea, and then they don't do anything with it story-wise, or just things are left, oh, it's so mysterious. No, I don't believe it was purposefully left mysterious. I think they didn't think things through. I think it's more about the art, which is totally fine. And the art is cool sometimes. I don't like that people look different all the fucking time. No, half the time Sarah's like, oh, I'm so fat. And she could not be less fat. But then sometimes she is. But then sometimes she's just in baggy clothing.
I know what you mean.
And I'm like, make up your fucking mind.
They just kind of go with the art style that needs to be in that frame.
That doesn't make sense.
But, well, hey.
Oh my God. And she just bitches and bitches and bitches and bitches. I am too zennial to relate to Sarah in any way. She is the poster Gen X. I don't care, man.
Back when I was watching this when I was younger, I had a friend at school named Emily who was this character.
She is exhausting.
She was just a redhead.
She is exhausting.
Yeah, it's a little much when you're our age now and you've figured shit out and you realize just how
well, it's like when you go back and watch Labyrinth now, I can't fucking stand Sarah in that either. She's a whiny Jennifer Connelly in that. Like, as a kid, I was like, wow, oh no, I totally understand. Yeah, it's not fair. And
life does suck.
Well, and now I go back and watch it and I'm like, shut the fuck up, you whiny bitch. You have actually no problems.
Right.
So I'm not saying this Sarah has no problems. She's got it complicated, and her mother's exhausting too. Everybody's exhausting in this.
That's the thing about this entire story too. And just disclosure here, my experience with the Maxx, I didn't go outside of like issue 20. I think was where I kind of cut off. Yeah. So I haven't kept up with it. I certainly haven't read all of it.
And it says there's 35 total issues.
Yeah. So there's 15 issues or so that I am not aware of.
Alan Moore wrote issue 21. Yeah. That's crazy. Well, that's a name I know. I don't do your comic booky thing.
Well, and
I only know the name Sam Keith because of you, but Alan Moore I know. Well, not personally.
This story structure is very schizophrenic. It fluctuates between, well, you want to kind of set this up. You had the wiki pulled up for
okay, sure.
Description.
Yeah, sure. Here you go. Main story arc from the wiki. Mr. Gone, a serial rapist with a telepathic link to Julie, has extensive knowledge of and access to other people's outbacks. He starts phoning Julie, but she thinks he is merely an obscene phone caller and ignores him. Eventually, the Maxx gets in Gone's way by protecting Julie. Gone tries to kill him with assistance from the Outback's main predators, the Is. The Maxx fights him in both the Outback and the real world. I'm not going on. It keeps going. Well, eventually Mr. Gone makes Julie see the truth about her past and reveals to, he doesn't, and reveals to her how the Maxx came to be. He doesn't. Gon first met Julie when she was a child as Uncle Artie, a friend of her father. His tall tales about a visit to Australia helped shape Julie's outback. As Julie begins healing herself and the outback, the series follows Sarah, a depressed teenager whose mother sends her to Julie for counseling. Sarah is often in conflict with her mother, who disciplines her so she will not grow up to be like her father, Mr. Gon, which makes no fucking sense. None of this makes sense.
All right, well, we can call that an episode. Jess, where can people find you?
This recap is technically correct, but this does not, a lot of this doesn't really come across like that. How is Mr. Gon her father? Her father went fucking postal, killed a bunch of people, and then shot himself in the head.
Right.
But he's here. But
I assumed it's because
she's the apple of his eye, but he cares about Julie. And also Julie's the jungle queen, but there's no jungle, and what is she the queen of?
I always assumed that in the case of Mr. Gon, with him, killing his coworkers and then himself, I always assumed that his outback was just so strong that he was able to retreat into it, which is just the ultimate subconscious of a person, right? That's what's referred to as their outback. He refers to it as Pangea.
Yes. And then the Maxx just starts referring to it as Pangea sometimes too.
Right.
There's no follow through with people, how they refer to things or see things.
The main dynamic here is going to be Julie and Maxx. And
yes, and yet this whole main story arc is about Mr. Gon.
Yeah, I mean, he's supposed to be this important character. Look, I can tell you right now,
sloppily put
this
together
entire
character.
Series is it's a superhero comic book that does not have a superhero. The Maxx is not a superhero.
No.
The Maxx exists.
But he's not an anti-hero either. He just kind of plods along.
Well, first of all, he's a vagrant.
Refers to himself in the third person.
He's a vagrant, that he's a homeless man who has a social worker who is Julie.
Yeah.
Julie's his social worker.
Yes.
They've developed a friendship that is platonic. There's no will they, won't they, or anything like that. I do
appreciate that he wants to protect her because he loves her, but not romantically.
Right.
I do appreciate that because that is so overdone.
And I don't think he would know how to navigate that. Julie doesn't really seem to want any kind of partner to begin with, so it works functionally well enough.
She's too busy working on saving everybody but herself until the very end, and
there's a reason. And they do explain that, which is good. That is one thing that is explained why she has this obsession with helping people less fortunate.
Yes. To her own detriment. And people call her on it throughout the series.
Now, Maxx is, like I said, he is a vagrant, and he is kind of, I'm sure he has all kinds of mental illness himself. And the mental illness feeds off of Julie's past. And
well, they're codependent on each other.
Right. He fluctuates between reality and then going into her outback.
Yeah.
Which is her subconscious, where she is a jungle queen.
Even though there's no jungle and she's the queen of nothing. But then also it's kind of implied that maybe the outback is the real world, and maybe this world is just her dream, and maybe when she leaves everything will disappear. And then maybe not, but then that's never answered because the show just kind of ends.
Yeah, and with the Maxx and his mental illness, whatever that may be, it's something. They don't really explain it. Every character in the show functions on mental illness.
Her into the outback. They physically go there.
Yes.
Not like astral projected versions of themselves.
Right.
Their physical bodies, and when they move through the outback, they move in the real world.
Hang on. Yes, they retreat into the outback. Maxx can't help it. So for him, it's uncontrollable. He just goes in and out of her outback. Now, while they are in the outback, in their minds, they are seeing this primitive, primordial desert.
Weird Australia.
Yeah.
Pangea.
But they are still in the real world, interacting with objects in our reality.
But are they, or do they just show up where they were?
Because there's points where they're sitting on a rock in the outback, and it'll show them sitting on a mailbox in the real world.
Let me explain my reasoning, because and I'm going to bring in another piece of media that deals with flipping between realities and not. and not my book series, which very much does. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about my personal favorite Stephen King book, The Talisman. It's Stephen King and Peter Straub.
Okay.
And it deals with Jack Sawyer, who's this young boy. He has to travel across America back to California to get the talisman to help save his mother, who is dying of cancer in one world and is a queen in the other world. And when he travels through, he has to learn how, and at first he has to have this drink that takes him there, but eventually he's able to flip back and forth. And it's called the Territories over there, and everything is beautiful and clean, but there's also evil there too. Anyways, when he travels through the Territories is smaller, much like the Outback in the Maxx is smaller than our world. So he tries to travel through the Territories as much as possible before flipping back because, like, and this isn't exact, but say like 1 mile here, if you travel 1 mile in the Territories, it's like 100 miles here or something like that, right? But when you are flipping, everything is represented there one way or the other. It's just they look different. So whether it's the mailboxes or the rocks or the way the Izzes look or how some people, there's a point in this series where you like are scanning through, like looking at everybody's windows and it's like flipping back and forth between the Outback and here. And you can see this guy doing whatever is really, he's like rocking out, but really he's like getting torn to pieces in the Outback because he's really this other creature. And it is this kind of which is real and what is not. And kind of mental health, but also this is real and we physically went here. So what is, and none of it's really described. So I that's my problem is I get that it's all free form and woo and all of that. I would like some kind of grounding, something to just even if it's right at the end, man, tell me something.
I 100% agree with you. So, I do think that this needed something more tangible to... That's
where I'm coming from, because that's my background of this kind of trope.
It's one of those series...
And I've seen it done better so many different times.
It's one of those series that once you get done watching it, you don't feel satisfied.
No.
It's too open-ended.
It's to the point where they created a special recap episode. Mr. Gone's recap episode, where he goes through...
the entire story.
Yes, and recaps it, and still there's no closure.
Yeah.
But it was bad enough to the point where they were like, we should probably someone decided to put this recap together. They were like, no, this is probably needed, which in my mind means you didn't tell a good story in the first place.
I don't think the story is why you should watch this.
Ugh.
I don't.
Stories are my lifeblood.
This is for somebody who, like I said, probably does drugs and just wants to sit back and watch moving artwork. And by
some
the way,
of the art is very cool.
This is the most faithful adaptation of a comic series ever put to screen. This is word for word, frame by frame, the comic book.
Well, that's cool.
And the animation style here functions in a way, it's somewhere between an animated series and a motion comic.
No, I appreciate a lot of the artistic choices that were made. I like the different funky shaped panels and stuff like that. Little things like towards the begin, like in the first episode, there's these two guys who are like robbing this lady. And this change goes everywhere, and we follow this one coin going across the screen, and it's like just highlighted right behind it. And
that is exactly how the
shots
comic
that are
book
super
functions.
Cool.
The comic book functions as if it is being directed with a camera.
Yeah, for the most part, my issues with this aren't with the art. Although, again, the fact that Sarah keeps calling herself fat when she's like 99% not fat, or like Julie looks so crazily different from time to time. Sometimes Mr. Mr. Gone. Oh, I keep wanting to say that it's an anime thing. Don't worry about it. Mr. Gone sometimes is much more like squatty, and other times he's
sometimes he's tall and lanky. Sometimes he's kind of. But
when he's like, shut up, and he's like squishing that he's like super stocky.
Yeah.
Also, Calvin and Hobbes is in this just randomly. I mean, it wasn't confirmed to be Hobbes, but it's the boy that clearly looks like Calvin, whose name is Calvin. And there's a scene in which he's got this little stuffed tiger next to him.
So. The reason why Julie's Outback, Pangea, Australia, whatever the hell you want to call it. The reason why it is decrepit is because in her subconscious, Julie is depressed.
Right.
Over a situation that happened in her childhood. That is why Maxx believes that he is there to rescue her, because if he can save her, the Outback will flourish.
Sure.
So that's where the superhero angle comes in. And when you're in the Outback, Mr. Gone has infiltrated some kind of weird tribe, like a jungle tribe, that have these creatures known as the Is.
Yeah.
It's spelled ISZ. They're little, tiny, big-headed, alien-looking, big-footed, skinny-armed.
They look like the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, like that.
They look like the
that
Langoliers.
Green, like, yeah, it's that same similar.
They have
kinda
giant
thing.
teeth, like really long
and big old
rows of-
feeties. Sam Keith likes him some big feet.
Yeah.
Holy
he does.
shit.
So Mr. Gone has kidnapped these Izzes from a jungle tribe that's unspecified somewhere
I
in
assume
the world.
who she's the jungle queen of, and maybe that's why the Izzes don't bother her when
Right,
she's
and there's
in the Outback.
millions of them.
Yeah.
And in the Outback, they are ferocious. They are there to consume. They are, I assume,
They just
to
kind of
be,
swarm over things and
Yes,
devour
I assume
everything,
that
like
it's
piranha
like-
or something.
it's somehow linked to the way Julie feels about herself, and she's kind of eating her soul alive
Or
with her
just
depression.
trying to get rid of things that she doesn't want to think about or see, like how she beheads Mr. Gone. God damn it. Mr. Gone all the time.
Yeah.
Every time he tries to tell her. But again, who he is or where he comes from or why he gives a shit about her in particular, no idea.
Mr. Gone is her uncle in the real world.
No, not really, though. He was just a friend of her father that they called uncle.
Okay, well...
He's also a serial rapist.
Yeah. Well, he's a self-proclaimed psychopath.
Yeah, okay.
He's well aware that he is, like, not a good person.
Uh-huh.
And he doesn't even try to be. But...
No.
So that is kind of what the Is are in the Outback. Now, Mr. Gone, he is able to move freely. He's the only character that moves freely between the two realities.
Yeah.
Through portals that he can create with his hand.
And yet
He has
that's the only thing he can seem to do. His powers vary wildly throughout this thing. Like sometimes he appears out of the shadows or like just the sky with this huge cape and like, you know, fights the Maxx on top of like a gas station thing. And then other times he's just a dude.
Yeah.
And sometimes he's a talking piece of clay. Sure.
Well, a head.
Yeah.
His
his head, but then he also has his head already because he's been there.
He was just lying about being clay.
Yeah, but it's a rectangle, and then when they open the thing, it's just his head.
You're getting way ahead of
It's
yourself.
so stupid.
Which is kind of what this
God.
series does as a whole.
Yeah.
It gets ahead of itself all the time. But
A head.
yeah, so because Mr. Gone can open the portals freely between the universes, he can bring the Is with him into the real world. Because in the Outback, the Is are useless against the Maxx. They cannot... They can bite him, they can make him bleed, but they cannot...
And yet he runs from them every fucking time.
Yeah. But regardless, what he believes or not, the Is cannot kill him in the Outback. They can't. So Mr. Gone brings them into the real world.
Yeah, and they turn dark.
To try to kill the Maxx here, because that's the only place that they would have a chance to kill him. And when you bring them into the real world, they are no longer white, they are now black.
Right.
And they can look like to normies, people like you and me just living our lives, they can look like anything they want as long as they dress them up like that
Mr.
thing.
Gone figures out that, if you dress them up like a little old lady,
They look like a grandmother.
look like a little old lady.
Yes, if you dress them up like a little boy, they look like a cute, innocent little boy.
Yeah.
And that's how they kind of function in our reality while also trying to find the Maxx and kill him, because Mr. Gone needs him out of Julie's life so that he can manipulate her to become what it is that he wants her to become.
Or to tell her the truth about her past and make her face it. But why? That ultimately seems like something that would be beneficial for her, and he's not a good guy. So, and
Mr. Gone is
understand.
obsessed with her, by the way.
Yeah.
He thinks that she is like the most beautiful thing in the world.
It's gross.
Yeah, it's very gross.
He knew her when she was little.
Yeah.
He was her uncle.
They needed some
quote unquote
motivation here for this character. I think it was very thin. And again, this is something that only exists in the 90s, this type of character where they simply just exist to fuck with people's minds and rape, and that's basically it. They never explain like how he's able to afford anything. He's like a mystical wizard type person.
Except
even in
he
our
sucks.
reality.
He himself says he's not a good wizard in this world.
Yeah, but he has his own apartment, but they don't explain where he's getting money from or anything.
I assume it's the is robbing people, because at the beginning there's those two, the big guy and the little guy, who have been going out raping and killing people and stealing all their money and stuff like that. And then that short one is revealed to be an is later on. So I assume he's just got a whole army of them out there stealing from people and bringing them back to him. That's as good as an explanation. That is not said in the show. That is my analytical mind trying to make reasons.
That's where my brain goes to. Like, there's little things like that. Like, where's Mr. Gone even getting his money? Or like when Julie's moving at the end and she just hooks a trailer up to her Volkswagen. I'm like, there's no way that Volkswagen is pulling that trailer. It's little things like that I hyper fixate on, instead of the plot.
And again, what irritates me so much about this is there are the germs of interesting ideas and deeper thoughts that could have been explored but just aren't. Like, for example, at the end when she's moving out, it's interesting the things that she will not let go of. The split golf balls, like all this trash, all this actual trash she insists on taking along. However, you see her pulling up all these plants, like this new growth that is being ripped out. And Sarah asks about this shovel, which could be used to dig into things, to expose things. Right. And she's like, no, get rid of it. So really at the end...
Well, that could have been the shovel that her mother used to kill the rabbit.
Maybe. I don't know.
Which is her spirit animal.
Yeah, don't even get me started on the weird ideas of
Maxx
spirit animals. Well, and his face his mask kind of looks like it could be a rabbit's but then he's also just a gardener.
I can explain his look. Okay, for those of you unaware, and if you haven't seen the thumbnail that I made for this, the Maxx, the way he looks, he is just this big hulking, brooding hunchback of a man with giant feet, giant hands. His hands have each hand has a big yellow claw.
Yeah.
He's wearing all purple, and his mask looks like a lampshade with teeth coming out of it. That's exactly what this is. His mask is the lamp in Julie's apartment. Mm-hmm. His purple outfit is the blanket that she keeps on her couch. His big boots that have all the straps and stuff is her luggage that's in her closet. There's little things that you can pick out throughout this series that in her apartment that are creating the look of the Maxx.
But at the same time, he's a physical being as well, because he gets arrested.
Yeah.
Like, people can see him. He interacts with the world.
Yes. Whenever Maxx gets put in jail, she goes and bails him out, and she'll let him come sleep on her couch for a night, and then he goes back under the bridge where
he just kind of starts living with her. He's not homeless for very long.
He's there when the plot it's necessary to move the plot along.
Yeah.
And it kind of does. You don't really think about that very much.
I do.
I just assume because he is just kind of a vagrant. He's there sometimes. Sometimes he's not.
Well, because
he's not a threat to Julie, so she doesn't really care.
Well, at the beginning, she's like, "All right, this isn't a hotel. Get out." But then, he never really goes back to live in the alley anymore. His box is taken over by Sarah and Calvin and Hobbs and whoever that other kid is. And then Julie even gets in there with Sarah and has a conversation. He's in the box at the beginning. But then it just kind of, they drop
to
that.
Bridge.
Yeah. They just kind of drop
needs
that.
To be there because the bridge is where Sarah goes to collect her thoughts.
I thought he just happened to see her there and then they had a conversation. I didn't think that he was living there. I think he just wanders, but ends up back at Julie's after a while.
Yeah, it's just an excuse to get these two characters to cross paths because Sarah is an aspiring author, and
in that very Gen X teenage way.
Yeah, she goes out and hangs out under bridges because she feels like authors need to have these kinds of experiences to write good stories. While she's under the bridge, Maxx is there telling her a story about being in Julie's outback.
Yeah.
So in a way, I feel like maybe this entire series could be written from Sarah's perspective of what the Maxx is telling her and giving her all of these ideas for stories.
Maybe.
Which would be cool if they had somehow incorporated that into the plot in some kind of tangible way, some kind of, concrete way, but they don't.
Like at the end, like the ending of Roseanne, where it showed her.
Exactly. Yes, where the main character was like, "What the fuck? What do you mean Dan died?" That would have been cool. They didn't go there with that, and I think that was a missed opportunity. There are plenty of missed opportunities. This is very
unfinished to be a complete series.
But again, if you didn't have a connection to this story or this art or anything when you were a kid,
hi, that's me,
and it didn't have any kind of impact on your art influence or influence in your life at all, you're probably not going to get much out of this. Because I can say, watching this as an adult, I don't like it as much as I did when I was younger, for sure.
That's sad.
I still have love in my heart for it, but as far as
you have made me watch this a few times.
Yeah, as far as a well-written, crafted work of writing, it's a mess. It is a jumbled mess, like I said, that could only exist in that 90s MTV. It functions in the way like a music video does.
I was just going to say it would work much better as a music video. Yeah. Like, just turn the fucking dialogue. First of all, the Maxx, the voice actor, he sounds like Xavier Renegade Angel to me.
Yes.
And it's so distracting.
Yeah.
Which, if y'all don't know about that, you're lucky.
Anybody listening
That's another fucking thing that Chad used to make me
Renegade
watch.
Angel. Yeah.
Oh, I can't stand that shit either. But every time the Maxx talks, I just hear life. And I'm just like, oh my God. You're killing me, dude.
I thought for sure it was the same guy.
It's not. I had to look it up.
It is not the same voice actor.
It is not the same voice actor. But yeah, it sounds exactly
in a way
like
too.
Xavier
Renegade Angel functions the same way this story does.
Yes, and I hate that show
because
too.
It's just nonsense. And I'm sure that was influenced by the Maxx in some way.
I'm sure.
I can pick out like several different things that I've seen in my life where I'm like, this must have been influenced by the Maxx somehow.
And you're like, oh, Jessica, she needs this in her life, and I'm like, please God, no. But I'm glad. Look, don't get me wrong. I'm glad this stuff exists. I'm glad that there's people, because this is a beloved cult show, right? And so I'm glad it exists. I'm glad things like this exist. They are just not for me.
I think they are important for people like me. This would have been
cooler to have some awesome music playing and just turn the fucking story off. And just let it run.
I do believe that if you are somebody that is struggling with some kind of inner mental illness or just like schizophrenia, paranoia, things like that, things like this can help. I mean,
I don't know. It's handled so shoddily.
Because for people that have a mental illness, it's hard for you to like shut off your brain and just like...
What are you implying?
Be in something. And this really does help, at least with me. I'm sure I have some mental illness of some kind, but... Watching something like this, I really can just like focus on what's going on. And because it is such a stream of conscious thing, I don't have to worry about plot. I don't have to worry about the structure of the story, where the characters are going, what their motivations are, what they're influenced by. It's just a stream of thought to me. And it's really cathartic to watch something like this because I don't have to think about it.
See, and to me, they don't answer the mental illness question at all. It's never fully clear what the real world is, what isn't.
I think, look,
that doesn't help.
If you want my personal opinion, I think that Sam Keith definitely has been affected by mental illness of some kind. And we can...
But again, he didn't write the story.
We could bring up like his childhood, which was really kind of fucked. I'm not going to harp on it too much, but about that. When he was underage, he had a relationship with a woman who was much older than him. Oh. And they did end up getting married. Oh. And as far as I know, they're still married to this day, but there was definitely some shit going on that was inappropriate.
Jesus.
And maybe that had some kind of effect on him. It definitely had an effect on this story when it comes to like Julie and Mr. Gone and their relationship and how he's obsessed with her and he's committing murders and he's raping women all in her name and to do it for her. Yeah, I'm sure there's some things there in his past too that really sunk into the story, and you didn't know that. But
no.
I only know that because of I've worked in the comic, not the industry, but
No, you have.
Yeah,
not in the creation of it, but a lot about
you just find out these things through talking with people who work there and reading articles and interviews and things and magazines.
Just being a part of that world, yeah.
Yes. So I'm sure that really had an impact on him as a writer and just how outsider his artwork is. Because this is very lowbrow outsider art. This would not have been taken seriously at the time it came out as high art or things that you would see in a museum or anything like that.
No.
But because of the 90s and because of things like the Maxx, because of things like Aeon Flux, The Head, all of these weird Ren and Stimpy, all of these weird outsider series, television series that were influencing people our age, now these things are considered to be works of art that really should have merit in the art world. You know, Sam Keith has had comic book pages and things like that in galleries and things like that. So,
well, good for him.
Yeah, I think that's kind of important to mention, that we take these things seriously because they are art, whether it's high art or lowbrow. It doesn't matter because this functions in a way that mental illness does. And I think that it's nice to have these visual representations of where people's minds were at certain points of their life. You know, I don't know Sam Keith. I've never met him in person. I've never had a conversation with him, but I get the idea that he's probably not that social of a person.
He didn't come across that way in that like behind the scenes interview thing we watched. He was he looked about as stereotypical introvert, nerdy,
right?
Just kind of plunky.
People that would have been overlooked and not taken seriously as artists.
Sure.
Back in the day.
He just looked like a nerd guy.
Yeah. And now we can celebrate them for being pioneers for people our age that we never would have even bothered trying to get our art or our work out there.
Sure.
For fear that it would just not be taken seriously.
No. And it was cool, you know, watching him draw the Maxx and stuff like that. You know, that's cool. I don't have again, my issue isn't with the art. Although I don't like how, because there were like 3 people in this interview thing. One was Sam Keith, one was a producer, and one was some other guy. I don't know. And it is irritating to me that they were harping on how imperfect Julie was, and yet that made her so much more beautiful. When really she just has bad posture, because when she stands up, they're like, I love that, he really made her imperfect. And yet in the beginning of every fucking episode, she stands up straight and she looks exactly like any other fucking bitch in a superhero comic, like the big tits and the big hips and the tiny waist. Oh no, you're right. She slouches. That's what makes her different.
Well, they went out of their way to show her doing that pose and looking more perfect to just slouching, and it was showing that
she needs to stand up straight. She's not actually imperfect.
For her to look that perfect, she had to put a lot of effort into contorting her body.
She just had to stand up straight.
Well, she didn't want to.
Yeah. Everyone in this show has scoliosis.
Well, you also didn't grow up reading comic books like I did either.
No.
There were some comic books that were highly sexualizing women in ways that this does not.
I didn't say she was, but she also and there's this weird convoluted idea of feminism in this too, which is irritating to me.
Well, it's that
and
idea,
it's only at the beginning and then it's dropped and never brought up again.
It's that 90s stand-up comedian style of feminism that was kind of not.
It's a very Gen X take on it.
It was in between what we have now and what we had then.
Yeah.
The past and present.
She's
in the 90s feminism was growing into something else at this point in time. And this reflects that well enough, I guess. I mean,
I don't think so.
It's kind of edgy. It's kind of grungy.
I don't know. It contradicts itself over and over again in this.
Yeah. And, I can just attribute that to the fact that, Sam Keith is a male.
Uh-huh.
He probably had no business writing these types of characters. Or incorporating feminism in this at all.
I'm not usually the type of person. I do not feel that, women should only write about women and shouldn't know men. Men shouldn't write about women. I'm not saying that. I'm saying it's handled very clunkily.
This is what I mean when I say 90s feminism.
Yeah. Written by men.
Written by men.
I hate being that person to be like,
feminism in media, whether it be comics, cartoon series, TV shows, movies, were written by men in the 90s. That's why it has this type of feel. It's 90s
It makes
feminism.
me roll my eyes so hard. Because that's not, you've missed the point, but okay, sure. And I don't mean you.
I know
I mean get fucked.
So,
God.
I don't really know what we could say about this series to give the audience any kind of clarity on what exactly it is, because it's not clear. This is definitely one of those things where 50 people could watch it and 50 people are going to have 50 different opinions on what the purpose of this is.
Which is, there's merit in that. There's something to be said for that. And again, I do like some of the art. It's really interesting. It's very striking.
I think it would be much better if those 50 people were able to have 50 different ideas, but also have a solid foundation on what it meant.
Yes. It's left so open to interpretation.
I think that would have,
because that no one can be right. There's no common ground to be found really between those 50 people.
Yeah, and I've watched YouTube channels that have tried to explain this series. I think I've watched 3 different ones recently, just building up to this episode. And all 3 of them, they got kind of the structure there, but the meaning and everything was way
That's
off
what I'm
base.
saying. And that doesn't mean that it's a work of genius that was left so open to interpretation that all of these things are right. No, that no one has any fucking clue, including the creator.
Well, I think the
end of
creator
story.
knows. I just don't think...
I don't
think that he's ever going to explain it.
And I don't mean Sam Keith, because again, he said he's not a writer. I don't put any blame for him on this clusterfuck of a fucking story. I don't. Because he was like, no, I'm not the writer. I just write, I make pictures that I think are cool. And, you know, he does the art. He doesn't do the writing. So I don't hold that against him. I don't think he has any idea.
He did write this.
He didn't. It said he didn't. But okay, maybe he did. In the interview, he was saying he didn't write it.
What the hell?
I don't know. That's what he said. He was like, I'm not a writer. I don't know. Well, it says he did, but okay. So it says written by Sam Keith, Alan Moore, Bill Messner Loebs. Different people did different. So Bill Messner Loebs wrote 1 through 15, 17 through 20, 20, and 23. Sam Keith wrote all 35, and Alan Moore wrote 21. So even the writers, it's not fucking clear who did this. Because he said in that interview very clearly, he was like, I don't come up with the story. I draw the pictures, and the writer, this pieces it together.
This comic was definitely created by him.
Well, then he doesn't fucking know either.
Characters. As far as the writing goes, I always assumed it was done 100% by him.
Yeah, no, I don't. It says that there's 3 different writers. Why Alan Moore wrote 21? I have no idea. But so
that really was not uncommon in the 90s for comic book series to have a guest writer, things like that.
I defer to you 100% on that.
There's an episode in the series where Maxx fights Hammerhead, which is this giant shark creature that Mr. Gone has brought from the outback into our real world, and he has paid him to kill the Maxx. That character in the comic was a character that was known as Pitt, which was a different series altogether, another comic book series within the Image Comics brand. That was a crossover event. They brought a character from another series into the Maxx, but I guess with the TV show, they didn't want to pay royalties to have the character in it, so they just replaced him with a generic shark character.
And instead had the Maxx watching Beavis and Butthead.
Yes.
Which just, when that came up, my immediate thought was, I'd rather be watching that. I wish I was watching Beavis and Butthead. Oh, yeah, hi Beavis.
There's a quick little scene where Maxx is watching, because they mentioned that he likes watching cartoons.
Yeah.
There's even an episode, just my favorite personal episode, and it was my favorite issue of the book.
Yeah, we should talk about that fucking weird Dr. Seuss thing.
Yeah, Maxx, he's sleeping on Julie's couch. He's trying to get him out of her apartment, and he's just gone. He is asleep, and he's watching Saturday morning cartoons, and there's a character known as the Crap-On in a Hat, who is a Dr. Seuss type character, like a cat in a hat type thing, but he's kind of like
speaks in rhymes sometimes, but it's real loose, and there's no never mind. I'm not dissecting poetry for you right now.
It's infuriating kind of to listen to, and I do like it because you think it's going to rhyme and then it doesn't, and then you're like, oh, this can't rhyme, and then it will. So yeah, it has this weird like beat poetry type feel to it.
Kind of, yeah.
With the dialogue.
It's like Cat in the Hat mixed with Michigan J. Frog kind of looking
and Muddy
guy.
Mud Skipper.
And Muddy Mud Skipper. Yeah, he's I don't know what he is.
Yeah, he's just
He does have a hat.
He is a weird tiny little green
something
frog-like creature with a Cat in the Hat type hat.
Mm-hmm.
And
he sometimes has like a Mary Poppins umbrella type thing and just like floating along and shit.
Yeah, and he's got a like little flying bicycle. And it's very weird, and it's.
But that's dream logic. It's very dream logic.
Right.
And
it's indicative of this series as a whole, because it does feel like something, like I had mentioned how you can just kind of watch this and be absorbed by it.
Mm.
That also is like Maxx watching The Crap on in a Hat, where he can just.
It's just strange to me that because that's the whole episode. Yeah. This is only 13 episodes to tell an entire convoluted story about multiple worlds and mental illness and trauma of your past.
Right.
And one of the 13 episodes is this crap on in a hat.
It's because each one of these episodes is an issue of the comic.
Right. Well, you said it's a super faithful adaptation. Yes. So this is literally just how it goes.
Yeah. Yeah, this series plays out exactly like the comic does. So if you're somebody who's like, oh, well, I want to read the comic and see if it's not different. The only difference is instead of Pitt, there's a character called Hammerhead. That's it. Really. Even the way that like I said, this functions somewhere between an animated series and a motion comic where they just took scans of the page or the panel and just animated it with. There is a mix of computer animation and hand-drawn animation.
Yeah.
Some of these characters, they'll do like digital versions of the panels that Sam Keith had done, and then they'll animate them with computer.
Right. Or even just like little effects in the background of the shot that, was initially like a painting or something. Yes.
So that's cool. The rain is all for the most part digital, but it still is in the style of Sam Keith's art. Mm-hmm. Like all the digital stuff still looks like Sam Keith's artwork. It's just enhanced by computers. You can tell. But I do think that this series, like the animation in this, holds up extremely well because of the way that they did this. Mm-hmm. Even watching the DVD, like it looks so clean, so crisp. You could tell that this was like right at the beginning of like digital coloring for animated series that I mean, things like Family Guy, The Simpsons, they all do it now. Futurama did it. This was like
One Piece.
Yeah. This was
to bring up
definitely
my favorite thing of all
on
time.
The cusp of that technology coming in.
Right.
And for it to be like a pioneer of that sort of thing, it holds up extremely well. There's no like flaws in the animation. You don't get all the color gradients stay faithful throughout.
Right.
Like the colors aren't changing. Like, when you'd watch Ninja Turtles and like Leonardo would be talking, but he has a red bandana, shit like that.
Yeah. Well, and there's also there's some rotoscoping in here. The police officers at the beginning are clearly rotoscoped in there, which is cool. Yeah. So there is a lot of different treatments. Kind of
this series is for people
together.
Who are more passionate
in a way that does work
about artwork than they are writing. Like you have to like,
and you're the artist and I'm the writer, so of course we're going to come at this
really
from two
helps
different
if you like artwork over a story, or if you just like the visuals over a functional story.
And me, if you give me an enrapturing story that is nothing but stick figures, I'm totally fine.
Yeah. I mean, that
give
has its
me
place
that.
too.
Make me think.
Yeah, the Maxx, it just exists in this in between space between dream logic and
a drug trip
of conscious.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, it's kind of like it's just like a psychedelic, like subconscious road trip.
Okay.
Of a story. That's just what it is. And I think it functions well for what it is and what it means within the context of the story. I mean, they tell you all of the like rules.
Yeah, at the very beginning. Yeah, of what can jump and what doesn't know how to land. They give you
exposition dumps on the rules of this reality and the other realities, but I just don't think it functions all that well just because it's not...
taken and done by a better writer.
Yeah, it's not solidified in something
I don't mean taken away from Sam Keith, but...
Right.
Yeah.
I just think the foundation of the series the writing needed to be stronger.
Yep.
And it needed to have like concise, like things that they stuck to instead of just kind of trying to rewrite as it goes along.
You can portray mental illness and schizophrenia and all of and you know, trauma and all of these different very hard-hitting topics in a way that is still very much, wait, I'm lost in this mental episode with this character. I don't know where it's going any more than the character does, but the writer overall has to know where they are, where it's going, and all of that. Even if all of that is not shown directly, there still has to be this byline of, I need to be able to put myself in their hands. I need to know that I trust them to lead me through this.
Right.
And this is so scattered that I think to just say, well, it's about mental illness is a cop-out. It is? No, I don't mean what you said. I mean the excuses that people give this show to just explain away when really that doesn't make sense.
Well,
no.
Mental illness is just the skin, and the subconscious is the bone. And I do think that this functions in a way of the subconscious battling with the mental illness in a struggle to possess the id or the self.
Or the is. Present tense.
And that's just how I kind of view the writing here. And it's hard to write something like that unless you
I've seen it.
Really know what you're doing.
Yeah. So I don't know. There are several major issues that I have. The way that feminism is portrayed, the way that there's so many things just left unsaid or completely contradicted. And I'm totally down for going on this, what did you call it? Like a subconscious road trip or something?
Yeah.
A psychedelic thing. As long as at the end, even if the characters don't get that kind of closure, I want that kind of fucking closure. Give me something.
This is the kind of story that would be playing out in David Lynch's head during one of his transcendental meditation sessions.
Yeah, but that's only intended for one person, and you get out of that what you need because that is your outback. That's your subconscious telling you. That's your is. That's your id. That's your everything. And this is intended. This is Mr. Gone. And Julie and Max all share this same outback, but then they don't. But then is Max real? But then he's the gardener. But then but then he's her rabbit. But then he's not. And it's
one of the things I think this series
is shown to multiple people, and there's just no definitive anything that you can draw from this. And if you're like, I've cracked the code, you are reading too much into it that is not actually there. There is no definitive anything.
No, and I think it's meant to be a personal experience. But one of the things this series does extremely well, and I think that I would like to see more of in other things, is the fact that this entire series has 4 narrators.
Yeah.
You've got Mr. Gone, you've got Max, you've got Julie, and you've got Sarah all narrating this thing from different perspectives. So it gives it this other layer
and then there's also that Glory girl who just randomly shows up and gets attacked, and then she shows up again later. And
I mean, she functions there just to show Mr. Gone.
I know,
as this,
but then suddenly
presence.
Now she's friends with Sarah and Calvin and them.
Well, she's one of their schoolmates.
But what? Okay.
I mean, that's just how that doesn't matter as far as I'm concerned. I mean, to you, it does. I understand. But she's such a minor character in this.
Yeah.
She's in 2 scenes of this entire series. But I do like that there are 4 different narrators narrating this thing in completely different ways, trying to make sense of this, because it gives you those 4 different perspectives, and it gives you at least one to kind of grasp onto and accept as the story.
But which one is it? Is it Mr. Gone's? Is it Julie's? Is it the Max?
For me, it's Mr. Gone.
Sarah?
And I think that Mr. Gone's narration functions alongside of Sarah's because he is kind of in her subconscious.
And that is so fucking sloppily done. It makes no sense that he's her father, but okay, sure.
So Mr. Gone is explaining what Sarah is explaining, but Sarah's perspective is in the real world and his is kind of both.
Yeah.
And then Max only knows what Max is experiencing, and Julie only knows what Julie is experiencing.
And some of what Max is.
And
then some of what Sarah is.
Sarah kind of has a...
I mean, Julie's the linchpin in this whole thing. Everything revolves around her.
Yes.
100%.
The whole story revolves around Julie and Julie's childhood and Julie getting over a traumatic event that happens with a rabbit. Her parents run over a rabbit when she was a kid.
Yeah. And let her keep it.
And it didn't die. It lost its leg, but she puts it in a box and keeps it under her bed. And while it's slowly dying and it's just like scratching the box and begging for death
so much.
And it affected her childhood. And eventually her mother had to take the rabbit into the garage and beat it dead with a shovel.
There's other ways to do that, but sure.
So yes, this one traumatic event that happened to Julie as a child, she's trying to get over that as an adult. Mm-hmm. The Maxx as the superhero doesn't exist. And that's why I said earlier that I appreciate that this is a superhero comic that really subverts what your idea of a superhero comic is. Because at the time, this would have been Batman, Superman, Spider-Man. Those were like, even today, they're the big sellers, right? The big superheroes. But in the 90s, you had things like Spawn.
I was
Maxx.
just going to say, if I had to pick one anti-hero guy living in an alley, I'll take Spawn.
Yeah, Spawn, the Maxx, Sandman, anything Alan Moore was doing with superheroes.
Sure.
They were really trying to subvert your idea of what a superhero comic is. And I think the Maxx did it the best because it's a superhero comic where the superhero just doesn't exist. It's just another layer to this.
You mean about the subversion?
Yes.
And nothing
subversion.
More, just the subversion.
Yes.
Okay, because I was about to have
there
to like actually
plenty
go
of other
after
comek
you.
books
What are
that do
you talking
superheroes
about?
way
Okay.
better than this.
All
But
right,
I'm just saying the fact that the superhero in this...
Name dropping Spawn, Alan Moore's work.
It's just the idea that the superhero, the main character superhero of this comic does not exist.
Right. Okay. Got it.
And I just think it's cool. And I think it's one of those, like I said, it's just another layer of this story to think about while you're watching it or reading it.
No, it's one of those things. I don't do drugs. Sorry, guys. Oops. Oops, no drugs.
When I was younger, reading and watching this, it helped that I was a pothead.
My dad was a massive pothead and all of that, so I grew up around a lot of drugs. So I was like, I don't want that for my life. So that's my own hangups. That's my rabbit. Right. So, I don't get into any of that shit. And I grew up reading fantasy books and like really getting into story. And so this is totally alien to me. And so while I can appreciate the art of it and some of the points I see they're trying to make, it doesn't go far enough. It ultimately falls apart. It contradicts itself. Yeah. And it's gross in a lot of ways.
The bones of the story are there. Like you said, the follow through just isn't. And I think that...
But I am glad that it exists. I really like I really like their design. I like the way in which it just irritates me because there's the germ of really interesting things here that, it's like the fucking poster that Sarah's done when she's looking at the horse and she is like, at one point, I don't remember the exact quote, but it's like at one point it became more painful to stay a bud than it was the fear to blossom.
Yeah. And
this is just the fucking bud and it never blossoms. To me.
Again, there's another thing there that is maybe another layer to this.
And if that's intentional, then it's a work of genius because God fucking damn it, but I don't believe that's intentional.
It definitely has...
That's my brain putting things together.
It definitely has good ideas that it just doesn't follow through on. Yeah. I think watching this now, like if I had just discovered this and watched this as an adult, I probably wouldn't have gotten much out of it other than watching the art. But,
I like Julie's hair. She's got great body in that ponytail.
There are definitely... still shots in this that are very well done, and then 100%. Others that are just kind of functional, and
the whole spirit animal thing is real, just kind of hinted at and not gone into.
Yeah, they'll put way more detail on some characters and not on others.
I think that whoever wrote that part, since there's multiple writers on this, I feel like drugs were done, and I have no proof of this, but it comes across like someone who was really fucked up thinking, you know, like when you watch videos of people on mushrooms or people who are really high and they've tapped into that man and like, here's the truth. And if you record that and go back and watch it, it's fucking gibberish.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it was very real to them in that moment, and they had hit upon something.
Yeah.
And this is like watching someone else's transcendental experience that they don't have the words or explanation for.
No,
that's really what it is to me.
That's really the best way that we can describe that. I mean, we could sit here all day long and talk about this and still not ever get to a finite conclusion.
Because there is not
or any kind of what it actually meant.
So it does invite interesting conversation. It's very aggravating, but it's very striking to look at.
Yeah. I think that you can buy it on Amazon. You can get the DVD cheap as hell on Amazon. I think it's like $20, something like that. I recommend it. I recommend watching it. I mean, it might even be on YouTube. I don't even know.
Yeah, I don't know.
You might be able to find.
It's the Maxx with 2 X's, by the way.
What's up?
It's the Maxx with 2 X's.
Yeah, 2 X's.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, you'll see the title of this episode, but just to be clear, if you're looking for it, it's got 2 X's.
If you're a reader, read the comic. If you'd rather just experience,
if you're a reader, don't.
Yeah. If you would rather just experience the series, do that, because they're both exactly the same. Like I said, these are panel by panel, word for word. This is the most faithful comic book adaptation I've seen.
I would say watch the cartoon, but put it on mute. Put subtitles on so you can get what's there. But
why?
Because I really don't like the voice acting in this.
Oh, well,
it's irritating.
I don't mind it. I think the voice actors for Mr. Dawn and Max are perfect. Julie could just be anybody. Sarah, her voice is kind of grating.
Sarah gets on my fucking nerves. But again, it's a brilliant performance of a Gen X burnout loser.
Yeah,
who I can't fucking stand.
Like a cross between a Daria and then Darlene from Roseanne.
Yeah, except I really like both of those characters.
Yeah.
Because they are more in depth. They actually do have depth to them. Sarah has no depth to her.
Yeah.
There's nothing there.
And Darlene's name is Sarah Gilbert.
Sarah Gilbert.
Another layer, guys.
Oh my God, guys, we're really hitting the breakthrough now.
Anyways.
We better end this. We're going to crack through.
I'm a recommend. Are you?
All
right. We'll call that an episode. Jess, where
you
can
know
people
yourself.
Find you?
I'm Jess Moon. I'm at, what am I? I'm at
JHL Moon.
No, that's my old one, damn it. Stop.
Just
Hold on.
_ Jess.
Yeah, no. I'm Jess Moon. I am at __ Jess Moon on Instagram. You can find me on Twitter at JHL Moon, but I don't know. I do have a publishing house, Shadow Spark Publishing. It's at Shadow Spark Pub on all social media platforms you can think of, probably. If you like actual stories that, are well written and all of that, check us out there. We've got all different genres, all different everythings, and highly recommend.
Oh yeah. Well, you can find me on Instagram at Wait, now you got me. What the fuck? You can find me on Instagram at deadbeat _ Chad. You can follow the podcast as well at The Pretty Little Podcast. We have the YouTube channel at youtube.com/@theprettylittlepodcast 69420. Thank you everyone for downloading, listening. Please like and share if you can. Get more people involved in this. We are growing and we do like what we're seeing. We will, have more on that later on in the year. But I did want to just take time out to thank everybody who downloads.
Genuinely, really thank you. All over the world.
Yeah. So awesome. Until we see you next time, stay pretty.
Stay little. Stay podcast. Come on, man.